Okay, Rabotai. Lifelong lessons, again we're continuing. From Pirkei Avot, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Yud. Shammai says, Omer, love work, what does that mean? It means like this. Person love work, Usnat Rabbanut means in general of leadership. Sometimes a person, you might go to a doctor or something like that, and all of a sudden you'll feel that he feels that he's superior than you. Like, what's going on? Somebody told me that he went somewhere, and he went to a place where he saw like a famous person, these famous guy. So he wanted to ask him a question. So he told him, "Are you so and so?" Like that. So he saw that when he said, "Are you so and so?" that he's giving him like, "Yeah, I am," and he just like walked by. He's like, "He walked by. Hello, you gonna have ga'ava now? Just because you're famous? It doesn't make sense. Just because you're famous, you can have arrogance? You think you're better than people? You can't do that. Asud." The Gemara in Mesech HaGigah says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cries on 3 people every day. You know what's one of those 3 people? One of those 3 people is Parnes HaMitgeal HaTzibur. A person who Hashem puts him in charge on the people, and he has ga'ava, he has arrogance over the people. Who do you think you are? I told you, the bigger chacham you are, the more humble you have to be. The bigger you are in leadership, the more humble you have to be. I told you what happened with Rav Shlomo Amar, my friend Moise Beda. He was standing there one time, and he saw him by the court. He was a chief rabbi. Everybody was going, he was kissing his hand. Everybody was like, wow, sight to see. Chief rabbi just came. When he was the chief rabbi of Shlomo Amar, Hashem should give him long life. So what happened was, Moise saw him. He was always mumbling things. Like every time you kiss his hand, he would say things. Like, what's going on? What is he saying? He kissed his hand, and he got up close. Like, as he was getting up, he put his ear. He wanted to hear what he has to say. And you know what he was saying? I'm dust and ashes. I'm dust and ashes. I'm dust and ashes. I'm dust and ashes. You know what's going on? The bigger you are in life, the more humble you have to be. Yes. Now I'm going to tell you a story about the Avot Chaim. You ready? And that's why it says Usnat Rabbanut, because sometimes a person in position, a high position, his ga'ava, his arrogance, it can get to his head. If it gets to his head, yeah. Now what happened was, one time the son-in-law of the Avot Chaim, he was applying for whatever they were telling him, she get the rabbi job, get this rabbi position, I get this rabbi position. It didn't work out, and Avot Chaim saw that his son-in-law really wanted it. So Avot Chaim told his son-in-law, "I'm going to tell you a story now, but do not share until after 120. I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me." He's Avot Chaim's talking. But you're not allowed to spread this story until after Chafetz Chaim passes away. What was the story? Chafetz Chaim said, back in the day when he was younger, right? He was the Rav at a certain place, and as he was the Chacham there was an incident that the butcher was selling taref, was selling non-kosher meats. Right away, they closed him down. They put a ban on him. Nobody could buy from this guy. That's it. The butcher is pasul out. Non-kosher meat is gone. The butcher started crying to Avot Chaim. "Chacham, please, I beg you. I beg you. This is my parnassah. This is everything. This is this. This is that. I beg you. I have children to feed. Please, I beg you. Give me one more chance." Chafetz Chaim saw he was like really this. He said, on 2 conditions. One condition, I'm going to give you a personal mashgiach, and he is going to be behind all the scenes to see everything that's going to go on in the store, everything from top to bottom, A to Z. And second thing is, you have to pay a fine, a big fine, to to the Bet Knesset, to the shul. And let it, with that, he was paying a fine, a lot of money, and that will run some expense of the shul and this, that. A few years later, the butcher, of course the butcher agreed to the deal and this. A few years later, the butcher died. Chafetz Chaim has a dream. 3 people come to him in a dream. And they ask him, you remember that time when, many years ago, when this whole incident with the butcher? So he says, yes. He says, remember you gave him a fine to pay. Was that fine given to make kapara for him, for Saturday kosher? Or was it a fine that he's going to pay, so therefore he'll know, never do it again, because if he does, he's going to have to pay even more, and he's going to be out of business anyway. What was it for? He said, it was for the knas, a fine, so therefore he doesn't do it again. Oh, so it wasn't for... P.S. a few days later, he has another dream. Who comes to him in a dream? The butcher. The butcher tells Havasim, Havasim, I don't understand! I don't understand! Didn't those 3 people, didn't they ask you, was it a kapara or was it a fine to... If you would have said kapara, I wouldn't have had to go to Gehinam for that punishment. But now that you did it and you said it wasn't a kapara, he says he's suffering in Gehinam now for the avon that he did, because he didn't have kaparat avonot in this world. So he says, you see the power of even the intent of the chacham. If he just intended I'll be kapara. He says, you see the responsibility of a rabbi. You hear what's going on?